You're listening to the Happiest Girl in the Room podcast. Hey, welcome back to the Happiest Girl in the Room podcast, also known as the Happiest Diaries. I am your host, Ayodele Alabi. What an exciting time to be alive, guys. I don't know why, but I am insanely excited about the new year 2025. Okay, I kid, I know why. It's because I know that God has got me. And one of my anchor scriptures for the year is Jeremiah 29:11, which says, "For I know the plans I have for you," that's for me, Ayodele, declares the Lord, "plans to prosper me, plans not to harm me, plans to give me a hope and a future." Another translation says, plans to give me a desirable future. So what's not to be excited about? So if you want to experience the same joy, the same excitement that I have on a daily, and even more, I want you to say what a prayer. Ask Jesus to come into your heart, into your life. Tell him that you surrender your heart and your life to him and confess him as your savior. Say, "Lord Jesus, I'm a sinner. Forgive me today and make me yours forever in Jesus' name." That's simple. It's that simple. If you said that simple prayer, then there you go. You're a new creature, and God's got amazing plans for you, plans to prosper you, plans to give you an excitable and desirable future. So get excited. If you said that prayer, please send me an email. My emails are ayodele.alabi@happiestgirlintheroom.com or happiestgirlintheroom@gmail.com, or you can just DM me on Instagram at happiestgirlintheroom, and I'll happily point you to a Bible living faith-based church where you can start your relationship with God. Yep, so that's it. Let's go on to today's episode. We will continue on the best secrets for Happy New Year 2025. This is a topic I started in the last episode, so this is a continuation. Be sure to start from episode 1 to get the full gist, yeah? Okay, in episode 1, I spoke about 5 open secrets for living happy and intentionally all year round. So I'm going to start now with secret number 6, I believe. Yes, secret number 6 is taking care of your physical and mental health. If you want to be happy, if you want to live a happy, fulfilling life this year, you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of your physical and mental health. Let me tell you, regular exercise is amazing. Even the Bible confirms it. 1 Timothy 4:8 says that bodily exercise profits little. And I know the remaining parts is something around godliness profits everything. But now I'm focusing on the part A, which says bodily exercise profits little. And so this is the Bible affirming that there's benefit in exercising. I won't dwell too much on this one because I believe that in one of the final episodes of last season of my podcast, I did one podcast titled "Sweating for My Sanity," and I spoke about how exercising saved me while I was in grief, and it's still saving me daily. So it's saving me, it's helping my physical, my mental, and my emotional health. So please have a listen. Bottom line is regular exercise, healthy eating, and sufficient sleep are very important for physical and mental wellness. So this year, set your intentions on making healthy choices. Set your intentions on choosing that which promotes energy, which promotes vitality, and improves your happiness. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is that state of just being present in the moment. Like you're just here with yourself, by yourself. You can sense your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul. Just do it. Do it once in a while, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Practice mindfulness. It helps reduce stress. It helps increases your focus. And I spoke about all of this in Sweating for My Sanity. Please go and listen to it. So I'm going to move on to secret number 7, which is letting go of expectations. Expectations is the root of all disappointments. We know that. So if you want to be happy this year and free of disappointments, then you need to be ready to let go of expectations. You know, I can't even believe I'm saying this, because if you read my book, you understand. While I was in therapy, one of the most important and difficult points my therapy had made me learn is that nobody owes me anything. Nobody. Like, I have no right to expect anything from anyone. I know, but it was so tough for me to accept. He would tell me that even my spouse owes me nothing. If you read my book, I wrote, about this a lot. He says I need to understand that even my spouse, my husband, owes me nothing. So let me tell you, remove your expectations and you realize how much grateful you would be about everything in life. When people do stuff for you, you'll be so grateful, because guess what? You were not expecting them to do that anyways. And I remember my therapist and we used to argue a lot because I didn't share the same sentiments then. Because I would be like, how would you say I shouldn't expect trust? I shouldn't expect loyalty. I shouldn't expect faithfulness, love, etc. from my partner, from my spouse. We're wrong now. Come on. It's very wrong. And he would explain that, yes, your spouse, your husband, your wife, your partner, etc. should actually give you all of those things in the right circumstances. Yeah, certainly. But that doesn't mean that you should expect them. And I was, I used to be so confused, like, what's this man saying? But then he broke it down and he was like, wow. I was like, wow, light bulb moment here, mind blowing. And let me try and explain what I remember that he said. He said something along the lines like, that is why it is your decision. Like, wait, I'm trying to say this well because it is so loaded and it's so profound. Your choice for friendships, your choice for relationships should be based on your value system. So if you make the right choices, if you value trust, you value loyalty, you value, faithfulness, all of those things I mentioned, if you value all of that, then you should have chosen someone who also holds those things there, who also has the same values, also has the same principles, the same standards as you. So given this context, if you are in a committed relationship with that person, they will ordinarily give you those things because those things are also important to them. You get it? So they are your common grounds, they are your standards. But by no means does that mean you should expect it from them, because nobody's perfect and relationships involve imperfections and disagreements. So do you get it now? So everything you do is your fault, really. If your partner is constantly cheating on you, is constantly doing this and doing that, you need to evaluate the value system that made you choose that person as your partner. Because if you have chosen someone who, values fidelity and values trust and loyalty, then you probably would not be in that scenario, because that person would not be doing that to you. Not because you're expecting it from them, but because it's also that person's values. It's also part of their own value system, their standards, their way of life. You get what I mean now? Yeah, I know, mind blown. So since then, he really shifted the way that I saw things and how I see things now. That because if you're with like minds, then you both would act accordingly. If somebody is not acting accordingly, then you're not like minds. And so you'd always get disappointed not because of the other person, because of your own choices. You've chosen somebody that is not like-minded with you or as you. I know. It's hard, But that is it. So in this 2025, choose better and more intentional relationships and release that need for perfection. Please try not to change others. The only person you can change is yourself. You guys just align with those whose values are aligned to yours and see how everything else will fall in place, rather than trying to fix or change anybody. As I said, the only person you can change is yourself. So focus on your own growth and self-improvement and make sure that you align with somebody who is on your own vibe, on your own wavelength. Yeah. And just embrace the beauty of imperfections, because we're all imperfect. So celebrate your uniqueness, your quirks, your flaws, your strengths, and what makes all of us special. Yeah. So tell me you will be letting go of expectations and choosing better this year. Okay, so let me move on to secret number 8 now, which is learning to say no. You need to learn to say no. You need to set boundaries, because you get why, as they say, the colloquial parlance. Learning to say no, setting boundaries is great. You're on your path to empowerment, to self-care, to just owning your identity. It's something that you need to learn as a person. And I know that saying no can be incredibly challenging, especially for those who prioritize pleasing others and maintaining harmony, peace. I don't want to fight. I used to be like that maybe years ago, maybe like 15 years ago or 10 years ago. But I had to learn, that it's very healthy to say no for myself. So you need to learn to say no and set healthy boundaries, because it's essential for your mental wellness, for your emotional, for your physical well-being. It's very important. And I'll tell you why. I think I mentioned it. It's important to say no sometimes to protect your own self-identity. Sometimes some things, you don't believe in some things, and then you go ahead and be doing it because you don't want to say no to someone, or you want to please someone else. No. You need to learn to say no to maintain your own sense of self, your own sense of individuality. Because if you constantly say yes to everything, then you will lose yourself in the process of pleasing other people. Capish? Second reason why we need to learn to say no is because of burnout. You cannot keep overcommitting all the time. It will lead to exhaustion. You need to conserve your energy for what truly matters to you. So if you say yes to things that don't even matter to you, then when the things that matter to you show up, you're exhausted. And then you can't give 100%, because guess what? You've been giving at things that don't align with your value system or with your sense of self. So you need to set boundaries. You need to say no, because it communicates your needs, it communicates your expectations. It helps you know people. When you say no to people will know the kind of person you are. Yeah, and so it will even help you build more authentic and respectful relationships. What you can do, yes, you can value a relationship and value someone and still say no to them. But what you can do is maybe offer alternatives. You can think of alternatives. So you can say something like, oh, happy to help you, but right now I'm so overwhelmed with my current commitments that I don't think I can take on that task or that responsibility. And then you can suggest solutions or make compromises and say, okay, maybe I can come back to you in a week, in a month, or maybe you can find another solution. That way you're able to provide or offer alternatives to meet the person's needs, and not, essentially at the detriment of your own well-being. Yeah. So, but let me say something before I move on from this from these secrets of learning to say no and setting healthy boundaries. You need to be prepared for the guilt trips and the pressure tactics that can follow, that will follow, sometimes. But you need to just be prepared. And when you're prepared, you can stay firm, you can stay assertive in your response. Let me share a short story with you. It's one of my experiences. A former friend of mine, I say former because we're no longer friends, and I won't share the entire story of how we are no longer friends, but I just want to share an example of one of the encounters we had and how I had to say no to her for how I had to say no to her for my own mental and emotional wellness. Yeah. So it was one of those relationships that had gone sour after my late husband had passed. And even though in many ways there were efforts at reconciliation, it just was never the same. And it never really worked out. So at some point, this person lost her mom. And even though we're not as close as we used to be, because we were really, really close. But at that time, when she lost her mom, we're not that close. But because I knew how it feels to lose someone, and even though she wasn't really there for me in my own time, yeah, but still, because I knew what it was and how it was to lose someone, I knew that I had to be there for her in any way that I could. So I tried my best. I would reach out, I would call, I would message. And even while I was doing all of this, she was still obviously distant. She was constantly not taking my calls. She doesn't respond to messages. But I knew she was reading them. So I kept doing what I was doing, hoping that it was providing her with some sort of comfort. Because I knew that, that sort of thing that I would have appreciated if somebody was, doing that for me. So I just kept on doing it. she was out of the country at that time when, that tragedy had happened. And then she was going to return home to Nigeria for the funeral. And, on one of those days where she had taken my calls, I think, we were able to speak. And I was trying to understand the funeral plans and asking her for ways I could support. I had also sent her some funds to support with the burial preparations. And then I explained, that when she comes into town, I would be happy to support her in any way and anything, but I would not be able to be present at the burial. And I told her that, I figured that funerals were still like sensitive to me, and it was a trigger point because I had gone for a funeral some time ago. And even though I wasn't remotely connected to the person who had passed, the person who had passed was my friend's husband's dad. I'd never met the guy before. I don't know anything about him. And it was an elderly man, I think 90 something or so. So it was supposed to be, they call it a celebration of life, so to speak. So, I'd gone for that event. And I was literally taken out of that event in shambles because the burial took me back to Shea's burial. And it was I was a mess. I left that place in a really bad shape, which took away the progresses I had made on my healing journey, and it set me back significantly. And so because of that, I was like, I now realize that, funerals, attending burials, it's sort of like sensitive and it's still a trigger point for me. So I don't want to do that until I'm certain that I've reached a point where I can be there and not, relapse. And I hope that she understands, because I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to have to relapse. I didn't want to do that to myself. And I thought that she would understand as my friend, but she didn't. She became more distant. And when she came back to Nigeria for the burial, I could barely reach her. I would call, I would message, nothing. Even the day of the wake keep, I was constantly calling. She wasn't taking my calls, but I headed out anyways, and I went. And I got to the place. She eventually responded when I said I'm on my way and I'm not sure where I'm coming. And then I think that was when she responded and, detailed the address and stuff. So I went. And I went earlier so I could stay with her because I knew I wasn't going to attend the event itself. So I wanted to be there with her throughout the day, and I did. And while I was there, she gave me negative energy. She was obviously, showing me Pepe in quotes. But I endured. I stayed till it was time for the wake keep, and I told her that I've told you I can't go. And she left for the event with some of our other friends. I bade her farewell, and I got into my car. And then after the whole funeral thing, I said, because I knew she was still going to be in the country for like a week, so I wanted to reach out to her, come and spend some time with her. I haven't told her that I could bring the kids over, I would sleep over, and that kind of thing. But she just kept avoiding me until she left the country. So I let it go. I got the message eventually, so I let it go. But at some time later on in the future, I think we got a chance to speak about the entire thing. And then she told me she couldn't believe that I wouldn't go for her mom's burial. She said I made up an excuse that doesn't make sense, etc. Guess what? What is that? Guilt trip. That was just her guilt tripping me. And that's why I said, when you say no and when you're setting boundaries, you need to expect that you would experience some form of pressure tactics or some form of guilt tripping. And that was what was happening. So when she had said this, I gently corrected her, telling her that unfortunately, I wasn't making an excuse. This was my reality. It's not an excuse. It's easy for her to trivialize it because she doesn't know what I'm going through, what I had gone through. So she can easily trivialize it as nothing. But for me, it's not nothing. It's my reality. It's not an excuse. So I told her, I said no to you, yes, but I'm saying yes to my mental health and my emotional well-being. That's what I did. She may have chosen not to understand, but that's not on me. That's not on her. That's on her. That's not on me. And I, at that point, I didn't even think that we're not close anymore in any way. So honestly, I didn't even think she had the right to have those expectations of me, if I'm being honest. The friendship had deteriorated, and all of the efforts that we were still even talking at that point, it was mostly my effort. So it was very strange that she would be expecting those sort of sacrifices from me if I was being honest. But anyways, the point I was trying to make is that, people will try to guilt trip you. So be ready for it. As long as you're not being selfish, as long as the reasons why you're saying no are genuine reasons why you can't give yourself at the moment, you know what? A genuine, a healthy, a loving, an authentic relationship can withstand you saying no sometimes. It should be able to withstand you saying no. If your relationship is really healthy, based on love, based on mutual respect, based on trust, the person would understand. The person would definitely understand. So, in conclusion, well, this is my long story. I'm just trying to tell you that you need to set healthy boundaries and say no to commitments that will drain your energy, that will compromise your values, that would hurt you, your self-identity, your sense of self, your mental, emotional, physical wellness. You just need to stop compromising on those things. And if you ever feel bad about it, just remember that when you say no to others, you're saying yes to yourself. So you should be able to process it that way. So it shouldn't make you feel bad anymore, yeah? So secret number 9 to having a happy year all round is pursuing your passion. Let 2025 be that year that you engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Whether it's music, singing, playing music, painting, whatever it is, making time for hobbies that ignite your passion and creativity would improve your happiness all through the year. Because the effect and benefits it will have on you will completely change you for good. You'll be motivated. You'd have increased motivation to do other things. Because once you're doing things that you love, it boosts your energy levels and you're able to tackle life's challenges and overcome obstacles that come your way. It gives you this sense of pride and accomplishment, pride in your work. It helps your self-esteem, your confidence, just doing the things that you love to do. So you need to do that. You need to chase after those dreams, those passions that you have, because you would also learn new skills. Me, doing this podcast, I've learned skills that I didn't know that I had. I didn't know that I had. And every time that I speak about things that I speak about, I'm also learning. It's also an exercise of self-awareness for myself, and it helps me grow personally. So I'm learning. It's increasing my knowledge. It's increasing my perspective. And when people do share feedback, I also get different perspectives. And so I'm learning from you as I am putting them out, my thoughts, and I'm also learning from my audience. So it's just great. Please promise me that this year is the year that you will schedule time for your passion. Even if it's just a few hours a week, 1 hour, 2 hours a week, just schedule time and go after it. Please. I know someone may be thinking, I don't know what my passion is. I don't have one. Then this is the time to experiment. Schedule time to experiment and explore. Schedule time to try out new activities, new hobbies. What it is that catches your eye, go and try it out and see if you like it. If it resonates with you, then you continue. If it doesn't, you try something else. It's that simple. You want to learn how to cook. You watch cooking videos. You think you enjoy it. Yeah. How about try and start cooking? YouTube is there. You can learn from YouTube. You don't even have to go to a culinary class or school. Just try something different. Try something new. Try something that excites you. And you would see. And don't forget what I said in the last episode about staying in a positive environment. Make sure that you surround yourself with people who would encourage you and support your passions. Not people who will mock you for having them. Very important. So ensure that you stay in a positive environment. And be patient. Pursuing passions takes time. It takes effort. It takes perseverance. So don't get discouraged by setbacks or failures. Let me use myself as an example. Do you know how much effort? I told you now that I've learned new skills by doing this podcast. Do you know how much effort it takes to execute this podcast? Hey, there's one time the app I was using just failed. In fact, it's still failing. Now I'm using a different app. It's so crazy. So I had no idea how much effort it would take until I announced. I think I had already announced that I was starting a podcast before I tried to figure out, how do you even start a podcast? Let me tell you, it takes a lot of work. It's a lot of work, a lot of efforts. And after I do all that stress, only for me to be seeing 10, 15 listeners sometimes. For all the work I put in, no, it's wrong. So I'll post on Instagram. At least I think I have about 500 connections on Instagram, my personal page. I think it's even lower on my book page. But so I usually post on my personal page. So hoping that people would see it. And so let me say, 300 of the 500 people see. I will beg you people to repost. They will not repost. Maybe only 5 people will repost. I'm just trying to let you know that, this podcast has become one of my passions. That I really, really want to use it to impact the world. That's what God has told me, that I need to use the platforms that I have to draw people to Him, to spread light. And so it's really a big deal for me. But right now, my world is about 20 people. It's ridiculous. But I'm not giving up. Do you see me giving up? No, because I will persevere. Because good things take time sometimes. Galatians 6:9 says, let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap. That is, if we do not give up. Hebrews 10:36, something similar. You need to persevere so that when you've done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised. So these are the scriptures I use to hold body. These are the scriptures I use to hold body. As I continue to incorporate my passions into my life. So even though this podcast doesn't have the audience and reach that I want yet, guess what? It makes me happy. I'm happy to do it. It makes me happy because I'm following my passion. I'm chasing something that's important to me. So I feel fulfilled. That sense of pride and accomplishment every time I publish an episode. It does that for me. And hopefully it will get to the audience and the wild reach that I anticipate and I hope for. But in the meantime, I'm just proud that I'm getting it done. So let me encourage you to pursue your passion, and you would experience a deeper sense of happiness, a deeper sense of fulfillment and purpose. So take that step today and tell me about it if you do. You can respond in the comment section of this podcast, or you can DM me on Instagram, Happiest Girl in the Room, or you can email me, ayodele.alabi@happiestgirlintheroom.com or happiestgirlintheroom.com happiestgirlintheroom@gmail.com. Yeah. So tell me all about it when you do. Finally, secret number 10 is we need to practice forgiveness. Holding on to grudges and past hurts can weigh you down. Practice forgiveness, not for yourself, not for others, but for yourself, because unforgiveness is heavy. It's heavy, And I think I also have an episode in season 1 that I spoke about forgiveness, because I know I wrote about it in my book. So please check on that. Colossians 3:13 says, we bear with each other, we forgive one another if any has done anything against someone, because this is how God forgives us. So we need to learn to forgive others. As I said, unforgiveness is heavy. When we hold on to grudges, resentments, anger, we create this toxic environment within ourselves that can lead to emotional turmoil or suffering. All the stories I'm sharing, sometimes when I give examples of my past experiences of how things that pain me, I know someone has just said, Ayo, you're sounding like you've not forgiven. I said, no. Of course I've forgiven, And that's the thing. There's this thing we say, forgive and forget. Sometimes we forgive and forget. No, sometimes we can't forget. So if I'm sharing the experiences, it's just as lessons. So if I'm sharing the experiences, it's just as lessons. Not because I'm still holding on to a grudge or anything. No. So totally forgiving. And I hope that anyone I also hurt can also forgive me or will also forgive me, because I am not holding on to any grudges or resentment or anger whatsoever. Because it is heavy, man. Imagine carrying a 45 pounds dumbbell around. If you go to the gym, you know what that is. And that's one of the smallest dumbbells in the gym. It's one of the small ones. So imagine carrying that around every second, every minute of your life, every second. That's just giving you a physical representation of how heavy the weight of unforgiveness can be. It just creates an emotional burden. So you're stressed, you're anxious, you're depressed even. Your mind is cluttered. So you can't even focus on your present. You can't focus on your future because your mind keeps going back to that thing that happened, and you just keep reliving it in your head. It's hard. It's difficult. Forgiveness damages relationships, honestly. Please, there's no reason to just keep on not forgiving. So please, let's learn to forgive. And how can we learn to forgive? We need to let go of that need for justice. The need for, I know it sounds funny, but it's true. A lot of us, people do us wrong, and we're like, they can't do this and go scot-free. Never. They cannot. You're looking for that karma. No. You will just carry it in your heart forever. And you just hurt yourself. Please forgive and release the pain. And you need to recognize that when you forgive someone, it doesn't mean that person is right. It doesn't mean that you're telling that person that they're right or you're excusing their behavior. No, it doesn't mean that. And the truth is, FYI, karma or justice, whatever you want to call it, it may even happen. The fact that you don't see it happen or you don't know that it's happened doesn't mean that it didn't happen. But I'm just digressing, because forgiveness should not even be about karma or let the person get caught in karma or let something happen or let the person feel the pain that you felt. That's none of your business, That's between the person and God or whatever the person, worships or what. Just you just let it go. You need to learn to forgive. Please forget justice, karma, all those things. Just for yourself, you need to forgive. Another way you can learn to forgive is by practicing empathy. Try to understand the person's perspective and the circumstances around their actions or that led to their actions. Maybe you'll be able to see why they acted the way they did. It's not an excuse, but you'll be able to get why, and it'll help you forgive and let it go. I remember, I think I wrote about it in my book, that my in-laws, after, she had died and I somehow was being blamed for one reason or the other. It was ridiculous to me and it was painful, but I had to practice empathy and see that, okay, they were hurting, they were in pain, and maybe that's the way they were processing their own pain, and that's the way I was able to forgive them. It doesn't excuse the behavior or the action, or it doesn't mean that it was right, as I said earlier. Forgiveness doesn't justify someone's behavior or mean their behavior is right. No, it's just for your own self. Just let go. And then you need to choose to forgive. Everything we do in this life, I keep saying, is intentional. You need to choose to forgive. It's a conscious decision. You need to choose to release those negative emotions. I said it into the 1.1 about letting go of the past, You need to release emotions that don't serve you. And negative emotions like unforgiveness, they are not doing you any good. Let it go. So you can move forward and progress with life, That's all, folks. That's all the secrets I have for creating an all-round happy year. I hope that makes sense to you as you continue this year. Remember, happiness is not a journey. It is a destination. I would keep saying it's a destination, and it is of our own choosing. It is based on intentional choices, self-care, and a willingness to grow. So let's incorporate these 10 secrets from this episode and last episode. Incorporate them into your daily life this year, and you'll be on your way to cultivating a happy, fulfilling year all around 2024. So tell me, what are your intentions this year? Or which of these secrets, in quotes, resonates with you and why? I would love to read from you. Thank you for listening to the Happiest Diaries. To close out, I didn't forget, I'm going to read a page from my book where I spoke about forgiveness. It's in chapter 5, titled Grieving Differently. So here it goes. The next thing my therapist had me focus on was forgiveness. Forgiving my late husband who had broken many of our vows and left me all by myself in a world we had agreed to do together. I had to forgive loved ones from whom I had expected so much but received so little. I had to forgive my in-laws who broke my already shattered hearts with many words, actions, and inactions. And finally, I had to forgive myself for constantly blaming my poor decisions for the life of misery I was living. My therapist taught me that forgiveness is critical to dealing with my emotions, and here's why. There's a biblical example that easily illustrates this. That parable which our Lord narrated about the king who forgave a man who owed him so much, but who couldn't forgive a fellow servant who owed him just a little. The Bible records that on learning of the unforgiving servant's behavior, the king severely punished the erring servant for his cruelty. So am I one who constantly receives grace for forgiveness from God, yet I can't forgive others? I needed to ask myself. The truth is, we've all made mistakes. Yes, some mistakes may be costlier than others, but they are mistakes nonetheless. And forgiveness will help lighten the load. It doesn't necessarily erase the hurt or help you forget. Could I ever? But it does help heal and move forward. So now I live by forgiveness, and this has kept me carefully in a sacred place between a fragile heart and a strong mind. So yeah, that's an excerpt from my book, Happiest Girl in the Room, Chapter 5, Grieving Differently. If you want to read my book, you can purchase on Amazon. Just search with the book title, Happiest Girl in the Room. If you're in Nigeria, you can visit any Roving Heights bookshop nationwide, or you can buy online via seller. Thank you again. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye. You're listening to the Happiest Girl in the Room podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Happiest Girl in the Room podcast. See you next